Hi, today I have the Viqueria Levante, a new watch from a new microbrand that's going to be running on Kickstarter. Let's see, I've got the date here. I do believe it's going to be the 16th of March or thereabouts. So I have the watch here, and I'll pause halfway through the video just so I can put it on the original straps. But this is the blue sunburst version. On a bracelet. It's not the original bracelet that comes with the watch, and I'll get into why I'm not wearing that bracelet in a minute. But just to give you an idea what it might look like on a stainless steel bracelet, and then I'll switch over. So this is a pretty nice soft sunburst. You can see me moving the sunburst around here. I'm indoors, so there might be a little bit of reflection. But it's a nice looking chronograph. This is not the official strap, so you can see there's some slight differences here. But this is an aftermarket strap from Gigoto, if you're interested, that looks pretty similar and was fairly cheap. It was on sale at one point for about $15 or so. So the Levante really interested me for two reasons. First of all, I'm a sucker for sunburst blues, but the real reason that got me interested in this is, as you can probably see for those that like their movements, it's a really interesting case back. You can see a lot of stuff going on here, especially if you're actually operating the chronograph, if I start that ticking. And it's a column wheel chronograph too. Originally Swiss. This is made in China, the chronograph, not the whole watch. The watch is assembled in Italy. But the movement was originally the Swiss Venus 175. And Venus sold the equipment as well as the blueprints to Seagull. So this is a Seagull ST19. And I have a number of ST19 watches that I absolutely love. So Seagull is one of the better Chinese brands, so a little bit more reputable than some of the other ones, if that is a concern. So if you get a well-built watch that's properly assembled, is a pretty decent movement to go for. And it's fairly cost-effective. If you want to get a mechanical chronograph, and you're going to go Swiss, then you're probably paying on Kickstarter at least $800 plus. I think the last one I seen was like $860. And this one is early bird of $259, under $260. An excellent price. The retail price is $499, so we'll call that $500. And it's a great movement, and it's got a instant reset. It's nice mechanical movement, and you can really enjoy the case back. So I love this because you can just do a lot more with if you like mechanical watches, and in terms of enjoying it. Most of the time, the one that I own personally, which is a different Kickstarter from a couple of years ago, this one here, the Marloe Lomond Chronoscope. This is the vintage coffee version. Has a very, pretty much a very similar case back, as you can see. And when I've worn this, I've had it off the wrist probably almost as much as I've had it on the wrist. It's just been a lot of fun. This is a keeper. I'm never going to sell it. So I really love this. So if you don't have an ST19 based chronograph, excellent price of $259. Getting into the retail pricing, it's kind of a little bit awkward for me. I also, my name is Neil Creswell. I run the Microbrand Store, and we have some ST19 based chronographs in the store, the Mercer Lexington Bi-Compax Chronograph, three colors, like a silver white, black and white panda, and a silver and blue reverse panda. And the retail price on those is actually slightly cheaper than Viqueria Levante's, so the Viqueria Levante price. But having said that, you should be looking at the Kickstarter, because I just don't think that price can be beat. You want to spend $260 or less and get a nice mechanical chronograph. This is probably the one to go for. And it actually comes on I'll switch straps in a minute. It does come on a very nice kind of rally strap. In fact, I've got this in here. I believe this is the box they'll be using. And just get into this for a few seconds. So the rally strap, when it's on the watch, is pretty decent. It's actually, I expected this to be like genuine leather, even if it's Italian, but it's really soft, extremely supple. Feels very comfortable with quick release pins, which is a nice touch. But what's important about this is 4-grain leather, which is the best quality leather you can get. There are actually 3 grains of leather, generally speaking. You can get into more than that, but just at a kind of 10,000 foot view. Most of the watches that I see coming out on Kickstarter, they'll say, oh, genuine leather, as if that's a good thing. And that's the lowest grade. It's not going to last a long time. The next level is kind of top grain leather. But having full grain leather is awesome. This will be the longest lasting. So an excellent strap, which I'll attach in a short while. I was less impressed with this. Was the actual bracelet that came with the watch, and you can see it looks pretty similar to the one that I put on it here. This is a Gekkota bracelet, a watch gecko as it's sometimes called, but it's got the same kind of decoration on the links. I couldn't actually get this fitted, and I've done hundreds of bracelets when I'm running a watch store here. For some reason, this bracelet is a really bad fit. So in the end, after trying for about 20 minutes, I just thought, well, just put one of mine on. It just saves a bit of time. We also get a warranty card on here. Not too impressed with this. By the way, it's not even as thick as a business card. So, but still, it's a cost-saving feature perhaps, and I'd rather have the lower price. I know that if I'm shopping, I would not want to spend $1 on a nice warranty card when I could have it $1 off on the watch. So not really a complaint as such, but just an observation that I kind of would have expected something a little bit nicer on a nice watch, but I can't really complain for the price. So the reason I don't like this bracelet is it just doesn't fit. It's interesting. If I was to, I don't know how close I can get on this, show you the bracelet. I don't know if you can see this. It's a little bit blurry. That's better. So somebody's had a go at, machining off the ends just to try and make it fit. They didn't do a very good job of it. So this is probably, it's not a stamped bracelet with a logo or anything. So it's probably just an aftermarket bracelet that they're maybe intending to include, I suspect. This is a prototype. These watches haven't been produced. This is the one that you'd use for photography. So because I just couldn't get it to fit, I just used my own. So that's the reason why. But now I have it on a bracelet. I actually do like the look on the bracelet, because if you have a sunburst and you've got a shine on the bracelet, the two really go well together. And we'll switch to the rally strap. So I'm kind of jumping around a bit here. So just to talk a little bit more about the straps, these are from a company called 2D Straps. They're handmade. So it is a really good opportunity to pick up a decent strap at a low price point on a decent chronograph. So I'm really happy with the price they've got. I don't think you can really beat that or complain about it. So let's switch over, and then I'll just see if I can cover a few other items like that I mentioned once I've got the other strap on it. So I'm wearing the official rally strap that comes with the Levante, the one that I actually think is a pretty decent strap considering the low price and that you get a full grain leather strap. Extremely comfortable. This is also a pretty decent strap, and the one that I'm comparing it with, I think of this watch as pretty much the gold standard for Kickstarter ST19 watches. It was a huge success and just sold out. It was almost super popular even on the second-hand market at one point. So let's talk about pros and cons. So you already know that I'm not too keen on the bracelet and I love the price. So let's go over other features. Also in common with this watch, this is not a sapphire crystal lens. It's not even a mineral glass. I believe it's acrylic. And I think the theory behind that is they were trying to copy this one, which is also acrylic. So you can probably see it's a very similar dome. It looks almost the same. It might even be the same, possibly if they did their research. So let's talk about the glass. So some people will say, well, if you have acrylic, it's authentic. It's kind of more of a vintage style. It's warmer. I'm hearing things like that. But to my mind, I really would have preferred sapphire crystal, specifically on this blue, because you can have a blue anti-reflective coating. I don't think that would hurt at all. It would make it more robust. This is, in fact, 100-meter water resistance. So with the sapphire glass, that just would have made it a field watch. You could even go diving with it if you change to a different strap. This one, by the way, is 50 meters. Just doing this from memory. So 50 meters will be more normal because neither of these have screw-down crowns. You can actually go 100 meters in some instances. So let's talk about the glass a little bit. So obviously sapphire glass, everyone knows, oh, that's pretty much scratch resistant. You need something like a diamond to scratch it. Very, very hard. In the case of mineral glass, that can scratch, but perhaps it's a little bit more bang proof in terms of shattering. But mineral glass does tend to scratch over time. So acrylic is basically a plastic, and it scratches even more easily than mineral glass. But I actually think this is better than mineral glass because it's really easy to polish out the scratches. You can polish out some scratches in mineral glass, but acrylic really can take a slight beating if it's not too intense. It's pretty much closer to shatterproof. I wouldn't say it's shatterproof exactly, but so you don't want to be banging any watch around too much. So you will get scratches over time with this. If they're not major scratches, you can polish them out. I've had this watch, I don't know how long I've had this for, maybe a year or so. And I like it, so I wear it, and looks pretty good. I haven't had to worry about this too much, but at the same time, slight disappointment. But I think they were just from having talked to one of the people behind this brand, they were following the lead of this one. This was successful, and they want to kind of have a vintage aesthetic to it, and I can see that. So I understand, just not my choice. So that's one negative, pretty minor, nothing that's a showstopper. Another negative, I'm just showing you side by side so you can see here. It operates pretty much the same. It's the same movement. This is perhaps slightly stiffer, but then I've probably worn this in a little bit. But the crown here doesn't stick out very far. It's certainly wide enough in terms of diameter to grab, but it's a little bit uncomfortable winding and pulling out to adjust. Once you put it out, it's fine. But you're going to have to wind these watches. These are hand-wound watches. They're not automatic movements. If they were automatic, you'd have a rotor on the back, and you really want to see what's going on inside. So actually, it's part of the charm. I don't mind at all it's hand-wound. Now, this is probably a little unfair. Marloe just have one of the best New crowns I've ever come across. Really easy to grip, sticks out just as much as the pushers. That makes sense to me. It's been a dream to just wind it. It's just so easy. I'm not even trying to grab it properly. I'm just looking through the camera lens here. On the other hand, just to compare, this is a signed buckle, as you can see. Not a particularly impressive buckle, but I don't think anybody really bothers about that. It's a pretty thin buckle, I noticed, but for this style of strap, it's totally fine to have a signed buckle. But when I reach for this one, I really don't have a grip, maybe a couple of millimeters, so I have to use the end of my fingers where my nail is. Not comfortable, can't turn it very far at all. The other one was very easy. So winding it, if you're going to wind it not just to get it started like an automatic, you're going to have to probably fully wind it. The power reserve on this is 38 hours. I'm already feeling it. I'm not liking it. So I think, if there's a takeaway from this, it's not potentially too late for a production model. I would say that crown needs to come out a little bit more, be easier to grip, or change to a slightly different crown. That's my feedback. I actually think it's kind of close to getting to the point where it might put me off buying this when I'm handling it. But it is addressable. So that's something you should perhaps talk about, for the Kickstarter campaign. Trying to remember how many winds you need to do on these watches. I can't remember, it's typically like 30 or so to get it fully round, but it will stiffen up. And once you're there, you know when to stop. But it feels very uncomfortable to wind that. And I'm a little bit fat-fingered, 7.5-inch wrist, to give you an idea of my hands, so very average male size. But definitely it just doesn't have the easy grip of the Marloe watch. So a couple of comparisons there. Apart from that, I absolutely don't have any other issues with this watch. I think it's really nicely done. 100 meters is a nice bonus. It's everything I'd expect to see in a watch of this type. I do like the strap. There's obviously different color choices. buckle's a bit flimsy, as I said. That's a really thin tang there, but it's not really an issue at all. You could certainly use any aftermarket strap. Oh, here's another one, 22mm lug width. That's nice. There's some other ones with the ST19 that are closer to like 20mm with 40mm diameter. This should be a 42mm. And let me go check their sizes. I haven't done that yet, and I know they said the case thickness is 13.6. Many of these brands often give the case thickness without actually, left-handed, I have to do this right-handed so you can see, give the case thickness without actually including the crystal or glass or lens. So let's just take a look, and 13.6, so they're including that. That's good, even though it's a boxed crystal a little bit. And I do like the boxing on the crystal. It kind of makes a slight difference around when you look around at the kind of the outer track here. It's actually kind of adds a little bit of flavor to that, but it's totally readable. So I don't have any issue with that. So it is 13.6. That's nice. Not too thick, but then it shouldn't be too thick without a rotor anyway. Diameter is supposed to be 42mm, and I think I have to go check. It's something like 48mm lug to lug. I'm just going to do approximately. Lug ends is a little bit unfair because the holes for the center of the lugs are a little bit inset. But we have 48.6, 49. So I'm going to call this 49mm lug to lug. And the diameter should be 42 if I can get in here. Don't know what do we have there. 43. I'm probably a little bit loose though. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit harder. Is that a bit? So yeah, 43. So maybe it is 43mm, or maybe that's just me. It also could be a slightly off. A prototype might be hand machined. It's possible. But anyway, we'll call this 42mm as that's what's claimed, though there is a possibility it could be 43. But with the lug-to-lug not being too long, it actually will wear like a slightly smaller watch. So that's nice. You get to see more, which is important on a chronograph because you have the sub-dials. So let's show you these pushers in action again. It's a nice firm click, but not too stiff. So stop and start. Starts a little bit gentler, and it's an instant whip back reset. Love that. So obviously, if you're not used to a chronograph, you've got these normal hours and minutes, and then the seconds for the current time, not the elapsed time on a stopwatch, is on the left side. And then when you start the chronograph, which is this start-stop at the top, you're now kind of using a stopwatch. That's what a chronograph basically is, a stopwatch in a clock, in a watch. So when that goes round to 1 minute, you'll see the counter on the right increment. You'll notice there's a 30-minute limit, and that's just the ST19. So you can time up to 30 minutes, and it has a tachymeter scale on the outside, so that's nice. There's various scales that you can get. This one here, I like not having a scale, and I have another bezel version of this that actually has an unusual scale. It's just kind of a custom version that I have. Anyhow, so I love this watch. The takeaway for me is I don't think you can beat the price. I think it's a nice sunburst. There's different types of sunbursts. This is a soft blue sunburst, but it's very clear, very visible. So excellent price if you don't have an ST19. So I would say go for it. Probably if you have to pay extra for the bracelet, skip that. Go get yourself an aftermarket bracelet. It does look really good on a bracelet. Happy to help people with links for that, but it's pretty easy to Google some. And the strap that it comes on, I don't think you'll need another strap for some time, but if you want to get them standard lug width, 22mm, it doesn't have to be a rally strap. I tried a few, but I just went back to the original strap as it's a very decent one. Love that. It's really comfy. So there we have it. A very happy review from me, because I never know if I'm going to pan a watch or like it until I get it, and I really do like this one. Wouldn't have mind keeping it, to be honest, but I've got to send it on back. It has to go off to photography, so if you see photographs of this on Kickstarter, it'll be the same watch. So maybe that's interesting for you. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond. Thanks a lot. Take care.